Let me tell you a story. A story about a man who had eyes and the ability to think critically, who faced unreasonable hostility when presented with writing on a wall in blood. A man who in no way has developed a superiority complex over a hive mind of internet users. This is the story of the first time I played V-Rally 4. In case you need a bit of a reminder, back in the PS1 days, if you wanted a good rally game, you had a choice. You could either go with Codemasters' Colin McRae rally games, or you could buy the V-Rally series. And the competition wasn't as lopsided as you might think. The numbers I can find today indicate that the first game in the V-Rally franchise sold more than 2 million copies in Europe. And it is worth bearing in mind that these numbers are from the 90s. 2 million copies back then was a really big number. In case you're curious, the gameplay you're seeing in the background is from the PlayStation 1 version of V-Rally 2. The relevancy of all that will be explained in due course, but do keep an eye on it while it's rolling. It's a game that's impressive in many ways. For starters, it has a quite sophisticated track builder, even by today's standards. It has a decent variety of game modes, but nothing that ever really breaks the whole rally theme there is to it. And it unfortunately also has some of the wonkiest handling in a car game I have ever seen. Many controllers used to be thrown at walls. I should note that the last point about the handling model is less prominent in other versions of the game, because for some reason the Championship Edition is a lot harder than the Expert Edition. Yeah, I'm also not quite sure how that works. The point I want to get across is that while the game is frustrating, yes, I know all too well myself, it's not frustrating because it lacks an understanding of how games work on a basic level. It knows the unwritten rules of gaming. The cross button is the accelerator. The square button is the brake. Circle to throw it sideways. It knows these rules and abides by them. I'm already getting ahead of myself, so let's just introduce V-Rally 4 and get this over with. Let's start where any good V-Rally game should start. A kick-ass introduction video. Okay, that's Monument Valley, clearly, with a rally stage. Ooh, and there's snow as well. There's some mountains, there's some industry area. It's pretty good so far. Oh no. They didn't just do that, did they? God, the music. Why? Why did they have to go with... What's the deal with that? Come on now. Why with the whole... Is it that bit's okay? But there was so much in that trailer that I just... Where did this all go wrong? And then the game just straight up jump scares you with this.
So, this is your first lap around the track. Well, I heard you were a promising driver. I'm Nancy. You need an agent to help you grow, and you're in luck, because that's what I do.
10 seconds in, and this is already as cringe as Need for Speed 2015. So yeah, anyway, it's an in media res opening that leads directly into a tutorial level. Now, credit where credit is due, there is actually a reason for this tutorial being there. It's called that none of the buttons do what you think the buttons are supposed to do. Case in point, the handbrake. An essential tool in a rally car. In 90% of all racing games, the handbrake will be on spacebar. What do you think spacebar does in this? Yeah, it looks back. Yeah, that's for some reason handbrake is on the shift key. It just doesn't make sense. It is at least good to know that they've kept the sloppiness of the handbrake, because it does absolutely fuck all. Wait, oh. Did they forget to give the people that might have a keypad? How incompetent can this game be? Disclaimer, that could be because I might not have paid money for this game. And I'm glad I didn't. So anyway, you complete the stage and it's back to your manager they've got this 20-minute tutorial on how to hire crew, because that's it missing. You know how about once or twice a lifetime there comes a game that really redefines the genre. I feel like every single racing game since about 2008 has just been a worse version of the original grid. Especially the 2019 grid. Project Cars 3 is alright though.
Actually, let's back up a little bit, because before we even get to this menu, the game has another category of racing it wants to introduce us to. If there is one word that defines the rallycross, it's show. The tracks are closed, short, and offer a range of sensations. And not to forget, extremely edgy opponents. Actually, I joke about it a little bit here, but imagine something like Gran Turismo's rally mode, but with the intensity of a Devil May Cry boss fight. To the disappointment of every human being that's ever lived, however, that's not what this is. It's just rallycross. That they for some reason decided should be branded after, the title of the game. The rallycross modes get the V-Rally fight treatment. But the rally mode doesn't, even though that would just make the rally mode be called V-Rally, which is, actually the title of the game. Are you starting to see what I mean when I say that Kyloton has no fucking idea what the hell they're doing? Anyway, there's a couple other modes. There's some buggies, there's some hill climb. None of them are particularly interesting, and even then there's nowhere near enough content to justify spending any more time in this game. Or that's what I thought. Because it turns out V-Rally 4 has one ace up its sleeve. If you in free race choose Nicer in the Extreme Kana mode, you can, if you have the DLC, choose to bring a 2006 Ford GT, which makes for frankly excellent bands. Suffice to say that the most entertainment I had out of this game was driving a Ford GT in a desert. But that's not exactly what you'd call a unique selling point, considering there's a vastly superior game with 4 in the title that already did this almost 20 years ago. So, V-Rally 4. It doesn't have the amount of content required to stand on its own, and it has nothing to do with the V-Rally games it takes its name from. It is, in other words, a perfect spiritual successor to the Flatout title, which follows the exact same pattern, and you can bust your balls. I'm going to use my experience with V-Rally 4 as ammunition when it comes to predicting that Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown is going to be absolute hot fucking garbage. I mean, if they can't get the V-Rally formula right, how on earth do you expect them to get the Test Drive Unlimited formula right? Even Eden Games, the developers of the original Test Drive Unlimited series, couldn't do that. How do you expect KT to do it? I just ask. Chief among my many bad experiences with V-Rally 4 is the knowledge that this game for some reason has DLC cars that they expect to sell for actual money to actual people. You know how the McLaren F1 in Need for Speed Heat was kind of egregiously priced at €5 for a single car and some cosmetic thingy-bobobs that nobody really cares about? Yeah, the price of each individual car in V-Rally 4 on Steam is exactly the same. €5 for one car that you can use in one thing and nothing else. You can't even change the color of it. I mean, at least Need for Speed Heat's McLaren lets you do that. How can you fuck up this badly? If no other aspect of this game has told you that it's a Unity Store asset flip that's just too polished for Jim Sterling herself to rip it apart, then surely this does. This isn't a game. This is a scam. And that is why I was put on this earth. I am to racing games what Jim Sterling is to the video game industry. And I'm here to tell you that KT and Nikon and Flat Out 4 and V-Rally 4 and Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown, all of them can go shove it up their asses. Oh, and if you were expecting this to actually be a serious review of the game, where I point out the criticisms and flaws and compare literally scene by scene to the originals, who do you think I am, the Gaming Grid? Fuck you.